have a very, very special announcement for you guys. We teased it on the last pod that went up yesterday, but for the first time ever in the history of the Hurt Handbook, we will be covering an event live and in person as official media, and that event will be Combat FC 7, which airs on UFC Fight Pass on May 24th. And just to kind of tell the story there, so I did a virtual press conference for them for their last event, Combat FC 6 in February, and they actually invited us out to the fights then, but because of just, college and other stuff, couldn't really do it. It was too short notice to try and plan a trip to Massachusetts where they're based. And this time, though, we are going to go there. We're going to film a fun vlog for you guys of our experience out there in Massachusetts and on fight night. So we're really excited about that. How are you feeling about it, Tiz?
Yeah, man, it's really cool to see how how far we're starting to take this thing for sure. That's definitely always been in the plans, in the cards to obviously take the show on the road and stuff, and gain these experiences and learn about these new fighters and make these connections, and obviously have the experience itself at a card. So it's gonna. I'm really excited. I think I'm more excited for the sense like that. We get to be the ones that get to shed this light on these regional fighters and put just do our best to give them this platform and just give them that obviously that respect and whatnot, that credit that that we want as many people as possible to see. That's what the Hurt Handbook was based off in the beginning. That's just the two of us wanting to just highlight and shed that shine on guys that are going into that cage and obviously putting it all on the line for their own livelihood and then for us as fans to enjoy and talk about. So
yeah, I mean these guys are obviously on UFC Fight Pass. All of them have potential to be in the UFC at some point. So hopefully we'll be able to shed some light on some rising stars. And we're going to talk about the 3 title fights that are on the card in a minute. But real quick, just want to thank the promoter, Joe Cavallero. He has been, very accommodating. Talked to him, had a good conversation, told him what we were trying to do. And he loved the idea and basically immediately gave it the okay. And also shout out to Kyle Vieira too. He's kind of coordinated our process here, and he helping us get situated and possibly getting us a couple interviews soon. Hoping we're going to be able to work that out soon. And I mean we're super excited. Like you said, the goal from the beginning was to kind of shed light on some fighters who maybe like not everybody knows and who maybe could be in the UFC at some point. And I just, I can't believe it. When I think about where we started and where we are now, we're actually covering a regional promotion in person.
Exactly.
That's on Fight Pass.
Trying to gauge new viewers and stuff and introduce people to obviously the sport of mixed martial arts as a whole, and like opportunities like this give us such a nice big way to go about it and do it. Obviously getting to talk to the fighters themselves, and then obviously being there in person, and then just once again just taking in the experience as a fan. And this is awesome, dude.
It's a big milestone. I mean, like I said, the first time we'll ever be official media at a pro MMA event, and I can't wait for it. So we're going to be going there from May 23rd to May 25th, and like I said, the fights are on Friday, May 24th, and our vlog will kind of just be covering the whole weekend, the trip up to Massachusetts and just our time there and our time on fight night. And we're really looking forward to bringing that to you guys because it's going to be a good one. So let's talk about some of these title fights we got here. And the first one will be the main event that I want to talk about, John Douma versus Ajim. And that's for the Combat FC Bantamweight title, which Douma currently holds. Won the title at Combat FC 5 with a big knockout in the first round of a very fun fight. And Douma overall, he's a really fantastic grappler. Pretty good striking too. He's honestly pretty solid all around. Has some high-level experience. Went 2-1 in Bellator. And 4 out of his 8 wins are via submission. A couple rear naked chokes, a Darce, and the triangle choke, which was in Bellator. We were just watching that one again before. That was a really sweet finish. And his last fight got canceled at the last minute for Combat FC 6. And so this will actually be the first defense of his title against Ajim, who is 7-3. Very solid striker. He's really fun to watch. Always comes to scrap. His last win was just a really fun fight. And he is a finisher, though. He's finished 4 out of those 7 wins via KO. And I'm excited for this one. What do you think of this title fight, man?
It comes off to me as, a fight that both guys, obviously from the jump, are going to look to just outstrike each other as much as possible. And who lands more is who lands more. But I think, the reason why you see Douma as the one holding the title is because of how well-rounded he is on the ground as well, and how much he's able to overwhelm. Like we were just saying, we've seen the few finishes so far that he's able to rack up. And this, yeah, man, like it's a once again, it's a big opportunity for him as well. Like he just had the title fight that was canceled, so I know he's probably chomping at the bit to, really prove to everybody that he definitely is worthy of holding this title and keeping it for a long time. So
he was cool to talk to too on the last press conference for Combat FC 6, obviously before the fight fell through. Just kind of talking to him about what it's like to be the hunted while also still hunting for his own goals, trying to get to the UFC. But at the same time, he's the champion of this promotion, and people are coming after him because that's the step to get to the UFC. And it's a very interesting dilemma for him. But John Douma is a hungry man. He wants that UFC contract at some point. And Ajim, he was on the Contender Series a few years ago, and I think that he would definitely be willing to try and get back to the UFC in any way possible. So that's the fun thing about these promotions that showcase these up-and-coming fighters. They're hungrier than most people that we're used to seeing because they're not even at the UFC yet. So they want to get to that highest level, and that makes it a lot more fun for us fans to watch. But to move on to the flyweight title fight, vacant flyweight title on the line, and that is between Firdavs Khasanov and Carlos Lozoya. And Khasanov, he lost 4 straight before finally getting back in the win column for his last win, which was almost a year ago at this point. He's 9-4 overall. What I kind of gathered, watching some of his fights, he has pretty solid fight IQ. He's smart with when he shoots his takedowns. He doesn't, shoot those sloppy shots that we'll see sometimes. Excuse me. But he doesn't shoot for sloppy shots. And because of that, it makes him a pretty solid wrestler overall. If he can get his opponent to the ground, he's usually good at keeping them there. He kind of tends to counter well on the feet. And his opponent, Carlos Lozoya, is 8-4. And fun fact about Carlos, he actually fought Sean O'Malley in his first amateur fight and lost via DQ, actually, because of accidental punches to the back of the head. That's actually a very interesting story. I listened to him tell that. But, held his own against, obviously, currently the UFC bantamweight champion. So this fight is obviously at 125, and I'm excited for that because Lozoya, he's another one who's a fun all-around fighter, really good wrestler, really good grappler, some solid kickboxing too, and he won his last fight at Combat FC 6 with a first-round rear naked choke. It was a great performance, so yeah, that's a fight that I really can't wait for. Who's grappling do you think will be taking the dominance in this fight?
Yeah, that's an interesting proposition there because, especially when you're fighting for a title, I think, the fight IQ, it shows that much more. So for Khasanov, I think for Khasanov, he's definitely not going to want to look, at least what I think is he's definitely not going to want to look to, really get a feel for Lozoya and let Lozoya rack up points that way in the early rounds and then have to rally once he's got, that intel and stuff on him. I think Khasanov would definitely, want to look to, keep the pace on the front foot, back Lozoya up, and then you maybe get a clinch up against the fence that obviously, like you just mentioned, Khasanov's superb wrestling, if he's able to get him down and just smother him. But Lozoya comes off as a guy to me who really does really does have that vision set for himself. It seems like he's got good guys around him and stuff too. I thought an interesting article I was able to read up on was how he really wanted, there was a Joe Lazone card that he really wanted to fight on, because he does work with Joe Lazone, and he does see Joe Lazone as a guy who obviously
Joe Lozon, right?
Joe Lozon,
Gotcha,
Lozon, that who has all this UFC experience, and so much so that it's if I was fighting on the same card as him, then like it would help me like feel that much more comfortable and feel that much more like confident I could win. And I just think that's also super cool. I hope one day that we're gonna be able to obviously see someone like this in the UFC. He mentioned a dream fight with Kai Kara France, and so I think I'm just really excited to see what he's what he's able to throw out there. I'm sure he's a super exciting performer, and yeah, I think this is one of the more underrated fights probably, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, for Lozoya, when I watched his last fight in February, that was a really fun fight to watch, and I'm excited to see how he does in this 5-round fight. But then to move on to the last title fight on the card, Gerald Meuse versus Damian Nelson. And this fight is intriguing for a lot of different reasons. And I guess where I want to start off is Gerald Meuse. He's a really, really fun fighter to watch, because not only is he exciting in the cage with his crazy grappling exchanges that he goes for. Let's just talk about it real quick. Gerald Meuse is 6-0. All of his wins are finishes, 5 via submission and 1 knockout. He's had 2 twisters in his career, where most people don't even sniff one. And he also has a nice heel hook finish. So this dude can grapple. That's something that we need to make very clear. And then outside of the cage, he's known for his Captain America persona. When he walks out to the cage, he comes in the Captain America costume, the whole 9 yards. So he makes it fun for the fans, and that's obviously amazing. Guys at that level being able to market themselves is a big, big thing that I'm sure the UFC pays attention to. And, if he can go 7-0 and defeat Damian Nelson, who knows, maybe he'll just be on their radar. But Damian Nelson is no slouch. So before Combat FC 6, he was actually on a 3-fight losing streak. And then he was supposed to fight Meuse, but when Don Shainis, former UFC fighter himself, his opponent fell out of the fight. So Damian Nelson stepped up on short notice to fight Shainis, knocked him out in the 3rd round pretty brutally. It was a good fight overall, but Nelson was pushing the pace and outboxing Shainis. And for him to go do that against UFC caliber opponent on short notice, very impressive. Nelson's boxing's really good. His takedown defense is going to need to be fantastic in this fight against a good grappler like Meuse. But he trains with high-level guys at Law MMA. But also, one big point with Damian Nelson, MMA is such a fast-moving sport. And Damian, went from a 3-fight skid to winning his last fight, big upset against a UFC caliber opponent. And now he's fighting for the Combat FC featherweight title. So you can't really make something like that up. MMA is fun for that reason. The tides can change real quick. And this one's a fun one. I know you were excited about this one from the start too, right?
Yeah, I think it's 2 guys looking to finish fights. As a fan, obviously, you have to appreciate that. And I think just the opportunity for the both of them, obviously, fighting for this belt. I feel like maybe, perhaps, you see even more of a well-rounded arsenal from the both of them. But when it comes to Meuse, for instance, when you're able to scramble the way he does on the ground, I would even call him like a human backpack of sorts. It does create that super interesting, that question in your head, if Damian Nelson can't get the early finish, then how well is that really going to pose for him in terms of having to keep up with a guy like Meuse who moves around the way he does in terms of cardio and all that.
Very unorthodox too. Like he comes at you in angles that you're not really expecting. Like he'll throw out things like Imanari rolls or just really just funky things that get people to the ground. So Nelson has to be, on his toes.
Two guys looking to finish fights. They're both super exciting. They obviously seem like great people as well. And then obviously, just another shout out to Law MMA, Long Owen Weidman, where Damian Nelson trains. Like that's pretty cool as well. That was a pretty dope fact to learn about. In a way, it's like, small world, it's like, we got to see Aljo train, obviously, and then now we're going to get to go see Damian Nelson fight. So, it's good. I think this is also going to be super exciting as well, for sure. And I hope both guys just obviously put on like something that no one's ever going to forget. So.
Yeah, I mean, any MMA card with 3 title fights is always fun to watch. The stakes get higher, especially for those 3 fights. There's a lot of exciting ones besides that, too, that you guys should definitely be on the lookout for on UFC Fight Pass that night. We'll definitely be posting like more information about it as time goes on and the fights get closer, but May 24th, UFC Fight Pass.
Big opportunity for all these guys. Like it's a big opportunity for us, and we're all looking to just take full advantage and capitalize on it. So thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kyle. This is awesome. We can't wait.
Yeah, we're super grateful. I'm so excited for this, as I know you are too. And just for the information on the video, the vlog will probably be up on May 26th. I'm going to try my best to get it all edited before that date, but if anything, it would just be released on the 27th instead. But look for the 26th. That's what I would say. And I mean, huge announcement. Like I said, first time we'll be official media at a pro MMA event. Mm-hmm. We are so grateful for everyone who's been a part of this journey with us over the past couple of years, and we hope we can bring you guys some cool content that weekend. So, we'll have a podcast in between then, week off for the UFC, but not a week off for Combat FC, and we're super excited to cover it for you guys. So we'll see y'all.